What if I told you that the most powerful AI company in the world, the one behind ChatGPT, nearly went to war with its own biggest investor? Not a Cold War, a full-on, lawyers in the room, antitrust complaint, we will sue you kind of war. This is not fiction. This is the real story of Microsoft and OpenAI, and it reads like the most insane corporate thriller you have ever seen. Let's go back to December 2015. A group of the sharpest minds in Silicon Valley sat down together with one single goal: build artificial intelligence that is safe and make sure it benefits all of humanity. Not one company, not one billionaire, all of humanity. The people in that room? Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Greg Brockman, Ilya Sutskever, and a few others. They called their new lab OpenAI. It was a nonprofit, no shareholders, no profit motive, just pure research. That was the dream. Fast forward to July 2019. OpenAI needed money to keep the lights on. AI research is expensive. We're talking billions of dollars in computing power, talent, and infrastructure. So they made a deal. Microsoft wrote a check for $1 billion. In return, Microsoft became OpenAI's exclusive cloud provider. Every model OpenAI trained, every server it needed, it all had to run on Microsoft's Azure cloud. At the time, it looked like a win-win. Microsoft gets access to cutting-edge AI. OpenAI gets the money to pursue its mission. Simple, clean, perfect. But here's the thing about deals that look perfect. They rarely stay that way. November 2022, OpenAI releases ChatGPT. Within 5 days, it has 1 million users. Within 2 months, 100 million. ChatGPT becomes the fastest growing application in the history of the internet. Microsoft sees this and does exactly what you would expect a company to do when it owns a piece of the hottest thing on the planet. It goes all in. In January 2023, Microsoft announces an additional investment in OpenAI, widely reported to be around $10 billion more, bringing its total commitment to $13 billion. And then, in February 2023, Microsoft launches an AI-powered Bing search engine built on OpenAI's GPT-4 model. For the first time in 15 years, Google actually looks nervous. This partnership, it was working. It was incredible. And then, everything fell apart. November 17th, 2023. A Friday afternoon. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the face of the AI revolution, gets a message from a board member asking him to jump on a Google Meet call the next day at noon. He joins the call, and within minutes, he is told he is fired. The OpenAI board had made a secret decision. They said Altman was not consistently candid in his communications with the board. And just like that, he was out. What followed was 5 of the most chaotic days in Silicon Valley history. Nearly every single OpenAI employee, over 700 people, signed an open letter threatening to quit if Altman was not brought back. Investors were furious. And Microsoft? Microsoft was absolutely livid. They had just put $13 billion into this company, and they were not even consulted. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, publicly announced that Altman would be hired by Microsoft. Within hours, the power dynamics had completely flipped. After 5 days of back and forth, Altman walked back through the door at OpenAI. He was reinstated as CEO. The board that fired him dissolved. And Microsoft? As part of the fallout, they were given a non-voting observer seat on OpenAI's board. They finally had eyes in the room. But this moment cracked something. And that crack was about to get a whole lot wider. 2024. Behind closed doors, the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI starts getting complicated. OpenAI is growing at a speed no one expected. It needs more computing power, more servers, more infrastructure. But the contract says it can only use Microsoft's Azure cloud. OpenAI executives began to feel trapped. They believed Microsoft was not providing enough compute fast enough. Meanwhile, OpenAI had a bigger ambition. It wanted to convert from a nonprofit structure into a for-profit public benefit corporation. But here's the catch. They needed Microsoft's approval to do it. Two companies, $13 billion between them. And they couldn't agree on the terms. June 2025. The Wall Street Journal drops a bombshell report. OpenAI executives had been discussing something that nobody expected: filing an antitrust complaint against Microsoft with US federal regulators, their own biggest investor. The people inside OpenAI were considering accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior. They were even discussing a public campaign against the company. This became known as the nuclear option. The charge? That Microsoft's exclusive cloud contract was locking OpenAI in, limiting its freedom, and possibly violating antitrust law.
Think about that for a second. A startup threatening to report its own billionaire backer to the federal government. This was no longer a business disagreement. This was a war. September 2025. After months of brutal negotiations, both sides stepped back from the edge. Microsoft and OpenAI signed a new agreement, a renegotiated deal that finally gave OpenAI the freedom it wanted to restructure. October 28, 2025. OpenAI officially becomes a public benefit corporation, valued at $500 billion. Microsoft takes a 27% equity stake in the new company, down from the 32.5% it previously held. And buried in the fine print of this new deal? A clause that would change everything. Microsoft was now free to build its own frontier AI models, something the original contract had actually prevented them from doing. That one line in the contract? It was basically Microsoft's permission slip to become OpenAI's direct competitor, and Microsoft didn't waste a single second. In early 2026, Microsoft's AI division, led by CEO Mustafa Suleyman, confirmed they were building their own AI models, called MAI. Their stated goal? True AI self-sufficiency. Suleyman put it plainly: we have to develop our own foundation models, which are at the absolute frontier. In April 2026, Microsoft launched 3 brand new in-house AI models for text, voice, and images, directly competing with the company it had just given $13 billion to. But that is not even the final twist. March 2026. OpenAI quietly signed a new cloud computing deal, worth $50 billion, with Amazon Web Services. Microsoft was furious. Their contract gave them exclusive rights to host OpenAI's AI models, and OpenAI was now taking its business to Amazon. A source close to Microsoft told the Financial Times, "We know our contract. We will sue them if they breach it." If Amazon and OpenAI want to take a bet on the creativity of their contractual lawyers, I would back us, not them. The partner had become the adversary. The investor had become the opponent. So where does this leave us? Microsoft put $13 billion into OpenAI because it believed AI would define the next era of computing. And it was right. But in trying to control that future, through exclusive contracts, cloud lock-ins, and equity negotiations, it pushed OpenAI into a corner. And OpenAI fought back. Today, both companies are building competing AI products. Both are racing toward the same finish line: artificial general intelligence. And neither one fully trusts the other. The greatest tech partnership in history is now one of the greatest tech rivalries in history. Sam Altman once said that OpenAI is building the most transformative technology in human history. Satya Nadella bet $13 billion on it. And now, they're both betting that the other one will blink first. This is Silicon Valley, where friendships are measured in billions. And betrayals? Those are measured in lawsuits.